The Tale of Peter Rabbit. Mrs. Rabbit had 4 little bunnies, Mopsy, Flopsy, Cottontail, and Peter. They lived in a hole under the root of a big fir tree. One day Mrs. Rabbit said she was going to town to buy some bread and asked 4 bunnies not to go into Mr. McGregor's garden. Mrs. Rabbit headed off to town. The bunnies put on their jackets and shoes, then they went outside. Mopsy, Flopsy, and Cottontail started to pick blackberries. But Peter, who was not interested in blackberries, hopped through the path that led to Mr. McGregor's garden gate. Peter squeezed in from under the gate and looked around. Mr. McGregor's garden was full of green leaves and vegetables. Peter ate some lettuce, green beans, and radishes. He suddenly felt sick, so he went looking for some parsley. On the way to Parsley, he saw Mr. McGregor. He grabbed his rake and chased Peter, waving a rake. Peter ran as fast as he could. He rushed all over the garden. He lost one shoe near the cabbages and another shoe near the potatoes. After losing them, he ran into the net and got caught by the big buttons on his jacket. He struggled a lot but couldn't get free. Quickly Peter slipped out of his blue jacket, but Mr. McGregor was still chasing him. He rushed into the tool shed and searched for the hiding place. He found a watering can and jumped into it. The can was filled with icy water. Mr. McGregor rushed into the shed and searched for the rabbit. Peter heard Mr. McGregor moving things around. He searched for the rabbit everywhere. Peter felt very cold because of the icy water. Achoo! Peter sneezed. Mr. McGregor was after him in no time. He tried to catch Peter, but he jumped out of the water can and ran. Finally, the farmer stopped chasing him. Now Peter was lost. He heard a noise. He climbed into a wheelbarrow to see what was it. He saw Mr. McGregor working on the onion patch, and behind him was the gate. Peter shot across the garden, but Mr. McGregor saw the rabbit and chased him. But Peter ran as fast as he could. He slipped under the gate and never stopped running till he reached home. Peter got scolded by Mrs. Rabbit as he lost his shoes and jacket. Mopsy, Flopsy, and Cottontail ate bread and blackberries for supper, but Peter didn't get anything. Mrs. Rabbit gave Peter medicine as he was sneezing and made him sleep. After this incident, Peter Rabbit always obeys to Mrs. Rabbit. Moral: always listen to parents' words. The Wizard of Oz. Once upon a time, a girl named Dorothy lived in Kansas City with her uncle. She was playing with her dog, Toto. They were best friends. When a scary cyclone came their way, Dorothy and Toto hurried to the basement. But, before they could get there, the hurricane lifted their house and blew it away. After a few minutes, it fell somewhere with a thud. Dorothy stepped out of the house. Dorothy was shocked to see that the house had landed on someone. Just then, Dorothy and Toto heard people behind them rejoicing. They praised Dorothy for saving them from the evil witch of the East. Just then, another witch appeared. She was the good witch. She thanked Dorothy for saving them and asked whether she needed anything. Dorothy asked the witch how she could return to Kansas City. The witch advised her to seek assistance from the Wizard of Oz and to follow the yellow brick road that would lead to him. She also gave ruby magical slippers to Dorothy. Dorothy thanked her for the slippers and followed the yellow brick road with Toto. On the way, she met a scarecrow who could talk. Scarecrow said he wanted to be a great thinker but didn't have a brain. Dorothy asked him to follow her so that he could ask for help from the Wizard of Oz. Walking a few miles further, they met a Tin Man. He was sad as he didn't have a heart. Dorothy said they were on their way to see the Wizard of Oz, and he could ask the wizard for the heart. The Tin Man joined them and walked down the yellow brick road. As they walked further, they saw a whimpering lion who didn't dare to fight back. Dorothy and others consoled the lion and asked him to join them. So that lion can ask the Wizard of Oz for courage. After a long walk, they reached the Emerald City. They met the Wizard of Oz. He asked Dorothy to defeat the Witch of the West. They agreed to the wizard's terms and left to find the evil witch of the West. But the witch was well aware of Dorothy and planned to kill her. As her first attempt, she sent a pack of wolves to stop them. But the Tin Man hacked at the wolves with his axe until they all ran away. Secondly, a group of crows came from the sky and started attacking. The Scarecrow stepped forward and scared all the crows away. Next, the evil witch sent flying monkeys. The lion roared, and the monkeys flew away. They made it to the witch's castle. Dorothy grabbed the bucket of water that was lying there and threw it at the witch. The witch started to shrink and melt away. Dorothy and her friends made their way back to Emerald City. The Wizard of Oz welcomed them and granted all their wishes. Dorothy also asked about her desire. The wizard asked Dorothy to tap her shoes 3 times, thinking of the place she wanted to go. Dorothy said a tearful goodbye to her friends. She took Toto in her hands and tapped the shoes 3 times. Magically, Dorothy and Toto were back, safe and sound, and landed back at her home. Alice in Wonderland. On a sunny day, Alice and her sister went out for a walk in the fields, and as her sister was reading a book, Alice got very bored. Suddenly she saw a white bunny that was in a hurry. She was so curious and went after the bunny. The bunny went through a hole in a tree trunk and Alice followed him. Suddenly she found herself falling into a very deep well. Finally, she landed and saw a long corridor in front of her and started to walk where she saw many locked doors and the bunny disappeared. She saw a little golden key on a table that fitted a small door behind the curtain. She opened the door and saw a beautiful forest, but she couldn't fit through the door. Alice notices a bottle on the table next to the key. She takes the bottle and drinks it. As she drank the potion, she began to shrink. She got small and went through the door, where she saw the bunny again. The bunny asked her to bring his gloves and hand fan from his house. Alice went to the bunny's house and found his gloves and hand fan and also saw a bottle of potion on the table. She thought the potion would bring her to normal size and she drank it. Suddenly she became so big that the animals around the house started to throw stones inside the house. The stones thrown turned into small cakes. When Alice ate those cakes, she started to shrink and got out of the house. But she was upset as she was so small. On the way, she saw a blue caterpillar in the mushroom and asked the caterpillar what can she do to get back to her normal size. The caterpillar said that one side of the mushroom it's standing would make her grow and the other side would make her shrink. By eating both the mushrooms, she managed to come back to her normal size. Alice started to walk on the path when she saw a cat with a big smile. She asked the cat what's his name and where this path led. The cat said it's a Cheshire cat and the path leads to the Manhattan and March Hare. After the little chat, the Cheshire cat disappeared slowly starting from its tail, only its face remained. Alice found the March Hare, who was having tea with the Mad Hatter under a tree. She also saw a dormouse sleeping in between them. When they saw Alice coming, they opposed, saying that there is no space available. But Alice said there was plenty of room. Man Hatter said if she wants to stay, she has to answer a riddle. He asked Alice, why does the crow look like the desk? She asked him, why do you think? He replied, I don't know. Alice got upset with their stupid jokes and went away. Alice continued to walk, and on the way, she saw a tree with a door. She found a golden key which opened the door to a beautiful garden. Alice was very surprised to see the guards of the Queen of the Hearts painting all the white roses red as their queen didn't like white roses, and all the guards looked like playing cards. Right at that moment, the queen came to the garden and invited Alice to play croquet. Alice was shocked to see hedgehogs used as balls and flamingos used as croco-mullets in the game. Suddenly there was a fight between the players. The queen got upset, so she cancelled the croquet party and headed towards the court. The trial was about a Jack of Hearts who had stolen a pie from the queen's kitchen. The king yelled from his seat, "Call the first witness." The first witness was Mad Hatter. When he started to talk, Alice suddenly started to grow. The rabbit called for Alice to take the witness stand. The Queen of Hearts asked Alice to tell everything that she knows. I don't know anything, Alice answered. The Queen yelled seriously, you don't know, chop her head off. Alice got very upset and shouted. Suddenly the King, Queen, and all the playing cards started to fly toward Alice and became a big whirlpool of cards. Finally, with the leaves flying all around her, she found herself on the field again. Her sister called out to Alice to wake up as she was in deep sleep. When Alice woke up, she realized that everything was a dream. She said to herself that it was an amazing dream. The Elephant and the Ant. Once upon a time, there lived a big elephant in the jungle. As the elephant was much bigger than all the other animals, he would always trouble them. In the same forest, there lived a family of ants. They were a hard-working family who always would go to gather food. One day as they were walking, Big Mean Elephant threw water on them. The ant got angry and asked the elephant to stop troubling others. But the elephant shouted at the ant to shut her mouth, or else he will walk over all of them. The next day, the ants noticed the sleeping elephant. The ant thought of teaching a lesson to the elephant. She quietly climbed onto the elephant's trunk and entered it. Once inside, she started biting the elephant. The elephant shouted because of pain. He tried everything, but couldn't get the ant to stop biting him or come out of its trunk. Such an enormous elephant became useless ahead of the tiny ant. The elephant pleaded to the ant to stop biting. The ant stopped and said, well, I hope now you know how others will feel when you hurt them. The elephant said, yes, I do. Please stop now. The ant stopped and came out of its trunk. The elephant apologized to the ant and promised never to disturb others again. Moral of the story: never underestimate anyone and hurt anyone. Always be kind to smaller or weaker creatures. Pied Piper of Hamelin. Hamelin, a small town in Germany, was facing a big problem. Rats were running here, there, and everywhere. The rats have made the lives of people miserable. So the people of Hamelin went to meet the mayor. The mayor promised the people of Hamelin that he would take care of the problem. A strange-looking man with a funny-looking hat carrying a long pipe walks to the mayor's office. The mayor asked the Pied Piper, can you get rid of all the rats in Hamelin? He said yes with great confidence. The mayor said he would reward him with 1,000 gold coins if he got rid of all the rats in the town. A strange sound was heard by the people of Hamelin, coming from the pipe of the strange man. To the people's surprise, rats of all kinds, big, small, fat, and thin, were all following the Pied Piper. As the Pied Piper walked, the rats kept following him. Finally, the Pied Piper reached the river, and as he stood on the bank playing with his pipe, the rats all jumped into the river and were swept away. The people were so happy. Soon, the Pied Piper came to see the mayor and asked for his reward. But the mayor refused to give his reward as he agreed. He gave only 100 gold coins as a reward. The Pied Piper was very angry and said, you have cheated me, and you shall pay for it. The next morning, a strange whistling sound was heard in Hamelin, and before the people could realize what was happening, all the children rushed out of their homes and started following the Pied Piper far away from their town. The people of Hamelin rushed after the Pied Piper and the children, but they seemed to have just vanished. The people looked everywhere, but there was no sign of the children. Finally, they spotted a boy, who was lame, sitting by the roadside. He said he couldn't walk fast, so he could not follow the Pied Piper. Everybody asked him where the Pied Piper went. He said when the piper reached the mountain, it just seemed to open up, and everybody went inside. People went to the mayor and informed him. The mayor sent his men to search for the children, but never again were they ever seen. The homes in Hamelin wore a deserted and gloomy look. They were missing the laughter and cheer of the children. They were responsible for cheating Pied Piper, and they shall live to regret this. It was a lesson the people never forgot. The Shepherd Boy and the Wolf. Once upon a time, there lived a shepherd boy who took care of sheep in a village. Every day he used to take the herd of sheep to the top of the hill and bring them down by evening. But one day he felt bored. He decided to have some fun, so he loudly shouted, "Wolf, wolf, help." The farmers in the neighboring area heard the boy's cries for help. All the villagers came to the top of the hill to save the sheep. When they came to the spot, they did not notice any sign of a wolf. The farmer asked the boy, "Wasn't it you who cried for help?" The boy laughed and said, "There is no wolf here. It was a joke, ha ha ha." The next day the boy played the same trick and annoyed the farmers once again. A few days later, a wolf came really. The shepherd boy shouted for help, but no help came. Everybody thought that the stupid boy was again playing his childish joke. The wolf killed many of the boy's sheep. The boy felt sorry for his silly joke. The Amazing Invisible Tiger. Sophie and Ashley have a new friend. His name is Baba, the monkey. Sometimes he can be very naughty, but he is really a very nice monkey. Today, he meets two new friends. Sophie walks with Baba down the street towards Josh's house. Well, Sophie is walking, but Baba does not walk. He likes to run and jump and do cartwheels down the pavement. Sophie knocks on Josh's front door. No answer. "I wonder if Josh is in the garden behind his house," says Sophie. Baba is still doing cartwheels on the pavement. "Come on, Baba," says Sophie. She and Baba walk around to the garden behind Josh's house. No Josh. But Sophie hears Josh's voice. She looks up. His bedroom window is open. "Josh!" shouts Sophie. "Josh!" For once Baba stops running and jumping and doing cartwheels. He stands still and looks up at the window. The voice from Josh's bedroom stops. There he is. Josh pops his head out of his bedroom window. "Hi Sophie," says Josh. "Who is your new friend?" "This is Baba," answers Sophie. "Do you want to come out and play?" "I can't," says Josh. "I have a problem in my bedroom." "What is it?" asks Sophie. She and Baba both look up at Josh. "I have an invisible tiger in my room." "What?" say Sophie and Baba at the same time. "It's true," says Josh. "Come on up." The back door is open. So Sophie and Baba go through the back door of Josh's house. They go upstairs to his bedroom. Sophie knocks on Josh's bedroom door. He opens the door and says, "Quick, come in fast." Sophie and Baba go into Josh's bedroom and he closes the door quickly. Sophie says, "Josh, this is Baba." "Baba, this is Josh." Then she asks, "Why do we have to come in quickly?" "I don't want the tiger to escape," answers Josh. Sophie and Baba look at each other. Then they start to laugh. "Josh," says Sophie, "are you sure you're okay? There's no tiger in here." Suddenly they hear a roar. "I am Lexa, the tiger," says a voice. Sophie and Baba are scared. They jump back. Their mouths and their eyes are wide open. "See," says Josh, "there is a tiger in my bedroom." "And not just any tiger," says Lexa. "I am a special tiger." "Why are you special?" asks Baba. "And how do we know you're a tiger?" says Sophie. "We can't even see you." "Don't make her angry," says Josh. She is already in a bad mood. Lexa roars again. Josh and Sophie and Baba all take a step backwards. They are scared. "So you want to see me?" asks Lexa. "Watch this." And suddenly, there she is, standing in Josh's bedroom. A very pretty tiger with beautiful stripes. Sophie and Baba and Josh all say, "Wow, Lexa is pretty, but she is not happy." "Why are you in a bad mood?" asks Sophie. "Because my paw hurts," answers Lexa. "Let me see," says Sophie. Lexa puts out her paw and Sophie holds it. Sophie looks very closely at Lexa's paw. I think I see the problem, says Sophie. It's a thorn. A thorn? Asks Lexa. I can help you, says Sophie. She has small fingers so she can easily pull out the thorn. Is that better now? Asks Sophie. Yes, answers Lexa. Thank you so much. So now there is a new friend on the street. Sophie and Josh are so excited. They want to show their new friend Lexa to their other friend, Tom. They hope Lexa does not become invisible again. Terrence Turtle's new home. On a huge mountain, in a big forest, there was a medium-sized meadow and a small pond. In this small pond lived Terrence, the turtle, and his two best buddies, Sam and Sally Swan. Oh, you may think it odd that a turtle and swans were buddies, really true friends, but I assure you, they were. Every day the three of them would search the pond for food, swim together and play games, and tell stories on the shore. When it got dark, Sam and Sally would return to their nest under a large tree and Terrence to his den on the shore, by their tree. One year there was very little rain and the pond began to dry up. The three friends were concerned and talked about what they should do. We should stay here, said Terrence. The rain always comes and the pond has been our home since we were born. I don't think the pond will last, said Sally. I think we need to find a new home, said Sam. Then Sam flew away in search of a new pond. After several days, Sam returned to find the pond almost dry and his friends not doing well at all. Sam, Terrence shouted excitedly. We are so glad to see you. The pond is almost dry. Sally is hungry and scared, and my shell is starting to crack. Did you find a new home? Yes, said Sam. It is beautiful but very far away and I don't know how you will get there. The three talked for a long time. Then Terrence said, I will stay here and dig deep into my den and the two of you, my true friends, fly to your new home. No, shouted Sally. We will all go. There is to be a way, said Sam. The three sat under the bright sun in silence, thinking of a way to get to the faraway pond. I know how to do it, shouted Terrence. See that stick? He said to Sam. Sally and you will each take an end in your bill and I will bite it in the middle. Then, you can fly to our new home while I hang on to the stick. We can all be together. Again, the three sat in silence thinking about Terrence's idea. It will work, said Sally. I agree, said Terrence. Maybe, said Sam. Sam looked at Terrence and Sally for a few minutes and said, Yes, I think it will work, but none of us can talk or open our mouths, no matter what. Does everyone understand? Does everyone agree? Yes, said Sally. I agree too, said Terrence. Terrence, Sam firmly said. It is most important that you do not talk or open your mouth. Remember, you can't fly. I understand, said Terrence. Within minutes, Sally and Sam each had the stick firmly held in their bills. Sam opened his mouth and bit down on the stick. They were off. Sally Swan and Sam Swan flew side by side, separated by a stick, with Terrence Turtle hanging in the middle. It was a very strange but funny sight. As they flew, climbing higher and higher, no one dared talk or open their mouth. Faster and faster, higher and higher, Sally and Sam flew. Terrence was terrified. As they passed over a town, they could hear the people talking and laughing. Look up in the sky, shouted one boy. What is it? Asked another. As the people looked up, they began to laugh at the strange sight. They laughed, whistled, hooted, and hollered at the silly swans carrying a turtle on a stick. Terrence heard all the noise but couldn't look down to see what was going on. Ignoring the advice that Sam had given him, he opened his mouth to ask him what was happening. Before he could say a word, he was falling and looking up at his flying friends. Oh, don't worry. Terrence didn't get hurt. You see, they were close enough to their new home, so Terrence fell into the big, deep pond. But not listening.